What is up, everyone? My name is Paula, and thank you for stopping by my channel. Today we are going to be discussing the case of baby Lisa. A quick disclaimer, I mean no disrespect to any of the victims or their family members or friends in any of the cases that I am going to be talking about on my channel. I will be mentioning theories when it comes to the cases of the missing and the murdered because I think it is important to discuss what possibly happened. In no way does that mean I am accusing anyone of any crime. Just keep that in mind, and with that being said, let's jump right into this case. Lisa Irwin, more commonly known as Baby Lisa, was only 10 months old when she disappeared from her Kansas City, Missouri home on October 3, 2011. Baby Lisa was born to Jeremy Irwin and Deborah Bradley, becoming the youngest of their now 3 children. With 2 older brothers, Blake and Michael Irwin, and 2 doting parents, the Irwins appeared to have the ideal family life. Unfortunately, their picturesque life was shattered in the early hours of a faded fall morning. Jeremy Irwin was an electrical contractor who often worked odd hours, including late nights and early mornings. On October 3, 2011, Jeremy arrived home from a job around 4 a.m. When he got to the house, Jeremy noticed that, quote, many of the home's lights were on, a window was open, and the front door was unlocked, unquote. Upon entering the house, Jeremy took it upon himself to check on his kids as any good father would. However, a parent's worst nightmare would soon become a reality when he checked baby Lisa's crib only to find her missing. After realizing that baby Lisa was not in her crib, Jeremy immediately woke Deborah and they began a frantic search for their missing daughter. When they couldn't find any signs of their daughter, Deborah and Jeremy called 911 and reported Lisa as missing. An Amber Alert was issued for baby Lisa, and police began an immediate search for the missing child. Police knew right away that this was not a case of a child simply wandering off. At only 10 months old, baby Lisa lacked the skills and abilities that she would have needed to be able to climb out of her crib and leave the house without a trace. Typically, when a child is abducted, it is more likely for a child to be abducted by a family member or an acquaintance. One article I found said that 49% of kidnappings were family kidnappings, 27% were acquaintances, leaving only 24% to be classified as stranger kidnappings. And statistically, 74% of children who are kidnapped are murdered within the first 3 hours of abduction. That's why time is so important when it comes to missing children. Unfortunately, in the case of baby Lisa, we don't know exactly what time she went missing, which only makes finding her that much more difficult. When the investigation began, police initially focused on Jeremy and Deborah. This is pretty standard in cases like this, as previously stated. More often than not, a family member is involved. Seeing as Deborah was the only adult home when baby Lisa disappeared, police were relying on Deborah for most of their information when it came to the timeline. Deborah maintains that she put baby Lisa to bed around 6:40 p.m. the previous night, despite originally telling police it was around 10:30 p.m. That's a 4-hour difference that could be critical in this case. After putting baby Lisa to bed, Deborah spent the rest of the night on the porch with one of their neighbors drinking wine. What originally started out as a couple drinks when asked about the amount of alcohol consumed soon became enough to be drunk. This was yet another change to Deborah's story which only served to further increase suspicion. I also read in one article that Deborah had admitted that she couldn't remember if she checked baby Lisa's crib before going to bed. Police also focused their investigation on Jeremy. Jeremy claimed he had been at work, and police were able to verify his story with video. This would essentially rule out Jeremy in the initial disappearance of Lisa. During the initial investigation, it was also discovered that 3 of the family's cell phones were missing, though none of their other belongings appeared to be touched. 2 witnesses came forward and said that they saw a man walking down the street that night/early morning with a baby in his arms. The baby didn't appear to be wearing anything except a diaper. This sighting is extremely important considering Deborah claimed baby Lisa was wearing a purple t-shirt and shorts, and a pair of burnt baby clothes were found in one of the local dumpsters. On October 19, 2011, 16 days after baby Lisa was reported missing, police were finally able to execute a search of the Irwin home. During the search of the Irwin's home, a cadaver dog was brought in. Cadaver dogs are trained to smell the scent of decomposing bodies, and police reported that the dog that was brought in alerted to a spot by Deborah's bed. While it is possible for cadaver dogs to give a false positive, this is still something that can't be ignored. Some things that were taken from the family home during the search include a pair of purple shorts, a multicolored comforter, a glowworm toy, a Disney character shirt, a roll of tape, a tape dispenser, and a Cars-themed blanket. Before the search that was conducted on the 19th, there was one conducted on October 17th. I'm guessing that there wasn't a search warrant for the 17th, and rather, the police had asked Jeremy and Deborah if they could search for clues to help find their daughter. In an attempt to cooperate, they said yes, but the police also claimed that they were denied access to certain areas of the house. If this is true, it would obviously be suspicious. If your main worry is finding your missing daughter, I would think that you would want to give police access to anything that they might need. During this original search, the cadaver dog that was present is also reported to have alerted to a scent in the home. The police wanted to interview baby Lisa's older brothers to gather any information on what they potentially heard the morning their sister disappeared. They also thought it was important to collect DNA from the brothers to help build a profile. The night before the appointment where the parents were supposed to bring the boys in, they allegedly canceled and denied all access to the brothers. Deborah and Jeremy also stopped cooperating with the police, which of course only served to make them appear more guilty. One of the tips that was made public during the earlier stage of the investigation was in relation to a man named John Jersey Joe Tanko. Tanko was a handyman with a criminal record who happened to work in the neighborhood. One of Tanko's ex-girlfriends publicly stated that she received a call from one of the cell phones that Jeremy and Deborah had reported missing. Police did question Tanko, but were satisfied with his answers and never named him as a suspect. In early November, a little over a month after baby Lisa went missing, Jeremy claimed that his debit card was stolen. It was suspended for a fraudulent charge of $69.04. The charge allegedly was to a British website where you are able to change your name or a child's name. Police investigated, but they said the lead was not promising and they could not find the website Jeremy was talking about. This leads us into our first theory in the case of what happened to baby Lisa. Jeremy and Deborah have said in recent interviews that they believe Lisa is still alive. Their theory is that someone came into the house, stole baby Lisa, and sold her. This is unfortunately a very real possibility, as there have been cases of children being sold to families on the black market, or an even more disturbing possibility of her being sold into sex trafficking. Another possibility is that the man that was seen walking down the street did in fact kidnap baby Lisa and burnt her clothes to hide the evidence. Maybe he did sell her, or is raising her as his own, or God forbid harmed her in some way. Another popular theory is that Deborah accidentally killed baby Lisa while she was drunk. In a panic, maybe she disposed of Lisa's body to keep her from getting in trouble. Some people will argue that a drunk person wouldn't have been able to do it without leaving a trace, but without having been there, we can't really say how drunk Deborah truly was. The other theory that tends to be rather popular is that a stranger kidnapped and killed baby Lisa. With the nearby Missouri River, it is possible that whoever took baby Lisa disposed of her in the water. In a lot of these cases that I'm planning on discussing on the podcast, I would like to be able to give my personal opinion. Of course, I have to be wary of the legal ramifications of doing that. And in this particular case, I think it's too close to home for me to say what I personally believe happened to baby Lisa. I remember when this case happened, and honestly, just thinking about it makes me tear up. This was a young, innocent child, and we don't know what happened to her. We don't know where she is. It's a hard one for me to talk about, really, but I think it's important to keep this case in the public eye to try and get some closure for the family and for everyone who's been invested in this case for the years that baby Lisa has been missing. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my podcast today, and I hope that you come back for the next episode and that we can grow this podcast and hopefully do some good in the world.